That was a great interview, Jeff. Now finally, where can I find your website?
I don't have a website.
What?
I just never got round to making one.
You know what? I can't take you seriously with an attitude like that. I am extremely disappointed in you. To not have a website is irresponsible, lazy, you lack ambition. I mean, where's the vision?
Don't be like Jeff. Be responsible. Get out there and shine with a beautiful website by Web Orchard, where they will take care of all of your website needs. Go to theweborchard.com right now and get a beautiful website you deserve.
You know what? Get out.
Hi guys, and welcome to another great episode of the Shrewsbury Biscuit podcast. And this is episode 8 of season alpha, and it's a good one too. Today I go to the Samaritans in Shrewsbury to celebrate their 60th birthday. Really, really cool event. I got to break out my trusty Zoom H6, which if you are a seasoned podcaster, or even if you're just starting up, you'll probably know what that is. It's a very trusty piece of kit. It's a portable mic that you can plug other mics into. It's pretty much a mixer you can carry around in the palm of your hand. I haven't used it for a long time. I got to set that up and speak to some fantastic people on this one. And I need to give you a disclaimer. There is going to be talk of things that may trigger you if you are sensitive to talk of serious mental health or suicide ideations, or this is the Samaritans we're talking about. They do incredible work, but it's incredible work surrounding some very sensitive topics. It's good to talk about what they do, but of course it means covering subjects like that. So if this may deter you, that I'll totally understand. That being said, the interviews that we did get on this day were incredible. So I want to say thank you to everybody that spoke to me about what they do, because when it comes to what the Samaritans do, not only can be quite upsetting to talk about these things, but there's a bit of red tape and things that we can and can't say. And I think everybody handled it with absolute professionalism. So thank you so much to everybody that spoke to me. At the end, I'm going to leave you with a bit of information about if you want to support the Samaritans, and how to contact them if you need them, which I encourage you all to do so if that is the case. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Samaritans of Shrewsbury. I want to wish them a happy 60th birthday, and this is their episode of the Shrewsbury Biscuit podcast. Enjoy. Hi guys, so today I'm at the Samaritans today for this. It's a 60th birthday celebration in Shrewsbury, and I've been invited along to speak to members of the Samaritans and to various people at the party that they're going to throw later about what the I want to talk about what the landscape has looked like over 60 years and what it's changed, and how we're understanding about mental health and people that need the help that you guys offer. So first of all, would you like to introduce your guys selves?
My name's Angie. I've been a listening volunteer at the branch for about 4 years. I joined just before the pandemic, and
wow,
it's a fabulous place to be. It's lovely bunch of people to work with, and really, really fabulous thing to be doing for hoping to help other people as much as we can.
I feel like listening is lost. Like to be able to sit and listen to someone and not to narcissistically ramble about your own stuff is actually quite hard to do sometimes, I feel.
Absolutely. And we offer active listening workshops to organisations that are free of charge, because we absolutely passionately believe that listening properly, listening actively to what someone's saying, can help. You can explore your own options. I mean, it doesn't mean when we listen to people, we don't actually change anything, but the people that we talk to go through things, think about them. We question them in a particular way. We summarise, we clarify, we ask open questions, and it's all about them. I don't know if you remember, your primary school teacher used to say, 2 ears, 1 mouth. Yes. And that's us. We listen twice as much as we speak.
I feel like we're living in a more and more sort of corporate world like when it comes to like your rent, your bills, everything that's done at the moment. Like my wife is changing jobs. I know she won't. I won't mention where she's going or whatever, so it should be fine. But the job she's leaving. Now the way they do things is they just offer the most basic of references. They started on this date and they finished on this date. That's all they'll give you. And that seems like really inhumane. That's like a machine to me. That's just like a beep, bop, bop, off you go. Whereas it's not a world that I'm accustomed to. No. I'm used to people listening to you and letting you talk about
sharing.
Your problems. Yeah. You can't get that if you're speaking to a machine.
You can't, and people are so busy, aren't they, these days, that sometimes there's just not the time. And somebody will come and say, can I tell you, when you're not a Samaritan and you've got the kids to get to school, the shopping to do, the washing to do, and there just isn't the time. So it's great for people to know they can pick up the phone, talk to us anonymously, we won't know who they are, and they can say whatever they like.
This is going to sound like I'm not like launching any sort of attack or anything on you guys, but when you've been working all week and you listen to lots and lots of people talk about their problems, can you get your fill sometimes? Can you have heard of too much and be like, I need a break? I mean, how does it work for you guys? How do you recharge?
Well, it can it can build up sometimes, but there's always someone there. You're never ever on your own. You always we're always with a colleague. When we're on the phones or emails or online chat, and so you can take a break and you can have a chat to your colleague and talk about the call that you've just had and just sort of offload it. And there's also, as well as that, there's a leader for every shift. And the shift won't go ahead unless there's a leader, and you can phone that leader anytime if you've got anything you want to ask or anything you want to discuss, or if you just want to, again, offload to somebody else as well.
That's really good, because we all need to do that. I mean, I feel like some people forget that we're all human beings, and whether it's like being stuck in the traffic on the way to work or not paying your bills or maybe not getting on with your wife or you've fallen out with someone, whatever, we all have our own problems to carry on with us. So I think it's really important to be able to offload before you sort of help people. I mean,
you're so right. And I expect you've had one of those days where everything has gone wrong and only you know about it.
Yeah, of course,
and it's really frustrating, and it can affect how you are with other people. So just to have somebody who will listen while you're just saying, and this happened and that happened and something else happened, just to feel honoured, that's all, and respected, and then you can move on.
And it does really help, doesn't it?
Does. It's crazy,
it's like
it does.
People say, thank you so much, and we've done... we've done a lot of listening, but we've not done anything else.
Yeah.
But they say just to talk this through, to talk to another person has helped me.
And I suppose the outlier that we don't get all the time are people who say, "You've saved my life," and we say, "No, you've saved your life. You had the courage to call," and we just listen.
And we're talking about like sort of 60 years today of Samaritans, and talk about changing landscapes and things. And you see, you started just before the pandemic. What a time to join something like this. I mean, what was that like? It must have been an incredible ride for you.
Well, yeah, it was strange because normally the training that we do with new volunteers is face to face, and you've got a group feel, and everyone's together, and it's a really good experience in that way. For me, it was all online, it was all over Zoom, so it's a little bit different. But it didn't take long. Once I got into the branch and started taking phone calls, you start meeting different people, and it's a real strong community there. And as I said, really great bunch of people.
The pandemic, I was talking to Beth Heath, was the last interview we released, and we were talking about festivals and the way things were, and she was saying that the pandemic, in some respects, I'd bring back because of how we manage things and how we change the way we help other people, we communicate. That it was quite innovative how we sort of switched to things like Zoom and the sort of Teams nowadays we use at work. Like, it's amazing that you can do that. I'm used to I've been for years been doing this podcast, spoken to people from all around the world, and I wouldn't have been able to do that if it wasn't for the
No,
those changes.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And
it's like
things have
magic,
changed.
isn't it?
And we often concentrate, don't we, on the downside, perhaps, of the pandemic, that people were isolated and now working from home, they're not getting out and they're meeting people. But actually, there is a flip side to it, and a lot of things have come out of it that can be quite positive if you use them in the right way.
Yeah.
And that's what we found, that our branch really came together.
How do you guys gel as people? Do you go out for drinks?
No, we don't like each other. No, we absolutely don't like each other. Yeah, we do, don't we?
Yeah, there's social events go on, not all the time, but now and then, and there are groups that get together, and it's just lovely to see people when you go into the branch and you have a good old chat before your shift starts, and then you're down to, on the phones and doing what we do.
I went out to celebrate a colleague's birthday last night, so I went out with my colleagues. We don't do it very often. I think last time was Christmas, but it was such a nice setting. It really is nice to appreciate the people you work with, isn't it?
Yeah.
And don't you find that you have a common sort of language? So, when people say, do you enjoy being a Samaritan? We know what that actually means. It's not that we like listening to people's distress and sadness, but we know what we mean when we say to each other, I enjoy being a Samaritan, because we get it, But
And we've all got a huge amount of respect for each other, which I think is really important.
Yes.
We, everybody has different views on things, and we accept everybody's point of view, don't we?
we do, but we have to work under Samaritans rules. So, for example, we can't promise people anything because we don't know. So it could be somebody at home saying, giving a terrible story, and if you weren't a Samaritan, you'd want to say, well, no, don't worry, it'll be all right. But we don't know. We never know it's going to be all right, so you can't promise anything.
How closely do you work with things like MPFT, mental health practitioners?
We just went. It's good English. We just went. I'm going to say it again, to the big conference over at Yarnfield that they have, the West Midlands Partnership Foundation, this week, and there must have been about 120 people working in the health profession, all concerned with mental health and how to move it forward, hope through compassion or compassion through hope. I think it works both ways. So we went along to that, and from that, people are asking us whether we can do our active listening workshops for mental health practitioners, because they're on the front line. They've got a really tough job to do. To
bring it back to the pandemic, we saw those pictures of nurses crying, doctors sleeping on the floor, and the terrible scenes that were going on in the hospital. That must have been. I mean, even to this day, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of health practitioners that feel the trauma from that.
They do. Yeah, and at the time, as Samaritans, we set up a special line for health professionals, as national, not Shrewsbury, a national line, just to be there so they could just say what they wanted to say without fear of it going any further or whatever.
How do you guys prepare for something that you can see, in the near future, that there's going to be something like, cost of living, the house crash in 2008, the pandemic, these kind of things that are happening that you can see coming towards you. As a team, how do you guys prepare for what could be like the onslaught of calls?
Mm-hmm. We find really that like the cost of living hasn't made a huge difference to the calls. It was
no. It becomes part of the call, but it's not. Yeah. It's not been. I think the stats that we've got is 1 in 12 people phone nationally to talk about the cost of living. The rest of it, the cost of living, has exacerbated the other things that they feel, and so they talk about those, don't they? And they talk about the cost of living as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they come. They phone Samaritans to talk about things that they just feel they can't talk to other people. They can't necessarily talk to other people about. Whereas cost of living is a more general.
That's a really good way of putting it. Actually,
yeah.
It's a really good way of explaining it. Yeah.
Well, there are certain things about our characteristics that we will not be comfortable talking about our families and friends with. LGBTQ plus, the community is a very important thing. The statistics for closeted men that are very suicidal. I'm pretty sure you guys see a lot of that.
Yeah, we do.
Financial burdens. People get, they're afraid to tell people that they're financially struggling. And mental health is another big one as well.
Yeah, it is. That's huge.
And loneliness as well is another big issue for people. So much loneliness.
How over a phone? How do you make someone feel sort of less lonely? How do you make them feel a bit better for that phone call?
We've got a. Shall I go?
Yeah, you go.
We've got a way of structuring a conversation, and it's not rigid, but we use open questions, we clarify, we summarise, we reflect, we react, and we use all these skills because we have to remember this is about the caller, not about us. And all we want them to do is talk and explore their own options, because it would be very easy for someone to say, well, why don't you go to the doctor? But we don't know why they don't go to the doctor. There might be a very good reason, so we don't ever advise. What we say is, so looking at your life, is there anyone that you could go to get support as well as us? And that's the sort of thing that we do.
And just having a human voice on the end of the phone is just so often so beneficial to people in the moment. Doesn't take the loneliness away long term, of course, but just for that little time they feel they're not quite so alone.
And they're so important, aren't they, when they phone? They get the idea that they are important to us.
I've spoken to various different life coaches throughout the hundreds of people we've spoken to on the Biscuit, and we've spoken to business life coaches, the nicey bring you along life coaches, the Stephen Marshalls that will be like, right, get up, grab your shit, let's go, you know. Well, them kind of life coaches. People react to different types of conversation, so some people may react better to a bit of assertiveness, friendliness. Some people will not ring up and want to have a lovely phone call with someone if they're feeling a bit pensive. So how do you deal with the different types of people? Do you have to change the type of conversation for the problem?
No, we wouldn't do that. We're not ultimatums, so we're all different. But we do get people who ring up who are very angry, people who are sexist, people who are racist. So what we have to do is listen to them and say, I can hear that this is really important to you, isn't it? Tell me a bit more about how you are feeling. And we go right back to the feelings. And quite often at the end they've calmed down and they've said, we said, well, if we look at this in a different way, is there another way you could look at it? And the conversation opens up, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But you can't say it's easy when people phone up and they're rude and tell us that it's a waste of time because we can't do anything. Yeah, that's tough. I mean, we're not perfect human beings, but we're just people.
Yeah. We're just people. Just normal people.
Yeah. So it's tough.
Yeah.
What are the most difficult situations that you guys have to deal with? I mean, I'm trying to build a picture for the listeners. Like, when someone has been doing this for so many years, what do we expect them to have gone through as far as difficulty?
Suicide in progress.
Yeah,
that's tough.
People on the phone who have done something to take their own life or are about to do something to take their own life.
That must be incredibly difficult to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But again, your colleague is there. You would call them over to support you, and there's a leader to support you as well.
Yeah.
And we are there for people. We're not telling them, no, you mustn't do this. We're there for them.
To explore options and give them time.
Yeah.
That's what we're...
Be there for them in whatever way
they need
over the phone.
Yeah, so at least there's somebody with them for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean, we'd always hope that by talking to us they might change their mind.
And many do, don't they? Many do. But 1 in 4 phone calls that we get nationally now explore suicidal ideation.
Wow.
So we have to know how to deal with it.
Do you guys ever explore peer support, people that have been through that can help?
We've got, nationally, we've got a lived experience group of people. So we're constantly being informed and trained in all sorts of things through the lived experience. But also, we need people who haven't had lived experience, who can just listen to what's going on without thinking, oh, when that happened to me, because we never self-disclose, because it makes us part of the conversation then, doesn't it?
Yeah. And people who are in a dark place, they don't want to hear about your dark place. They want to. We're there to listen to what they're going through, and explore what they're going through, and how things might possibly change for them.
As somebody that may have joined up as a phone listener, what does their first sort of couple of weeks look like? How do you train someone to take on this amazing job that you guys do?
Well, everything starts from our mission and values, and our mission is that fewer people die by suicide. So we spend time talking about Samaritans as a whole, what we believe, and that's all okay until we get to the self-determination bit, and that's when people find it quite difficult, that we believe in self-determination. And then we get some very, very difficult conversations with our trainees, and some people don't want to do that. They feel that we should rescue, but we are not rescuers. That's not what we do.
It must be incredibly difficult to retain a staff level that it's got to have the empathy and the compassion to be able to do the job, but can't react in that way because it's professionally that you can't do that. So I appreciate the difficulties you must go through retaining the staff, and the testament to you guys as well that have done this for so long. I mean, since the pandemic as well.
Oh, there's people who've been here for darn sight longer than me.
37 years.
I'm sure we're going to meet them at the party.
You will. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm a newcomer in.
Yeah. But, can I just say thank you for using the word empathy rather than sympathy? That empathy is what we're about, not sympathy. So thank you very much, Alex.
No, I appreciate it. It's not. I don't feel like empathy is something that everyone can lean on naturally.
No,
some people have got to dig really deep to be able to access that side of us.
Yeah.
It's an important quality to have if you want to support someone in any sort of situation.
And it's a thing I actually learnt when I came to be a Samaritan. I didn't realise that there was a difference between sympathy and empathy. Yeah. Did you?
No. I knew that they were completely different words.
Yeah.
But I didn't really understand the true meaning.
No, me neither.
Until starting here.
Yeah.
So quickly, just to butt in there, I found a great explanation on the difference between empathy and sympathy, and I got it from the website psychmc.com, and it says empathy is shown in how much compassion and understanding we can give each other. Sympathy is more of a feeling of pity for another. Empathy is our ability to understand how someone feels, while sympathy is our relief in not having the same problems. Well, putting yourself in somebody else's shoes is kind of like that's a lifelong lesson. I'm not a religious person, but like that's talked about in the Bible an awful lot. Walk a mile in somebody else's shoes.
Absolutely.
And how would you deal with that situation? It's a valuable lesson for all of us, I think, because whether you're talking about homeless people, whether you're talking about alcoholics, domestic violence, any sort of thing, you put yourself in that situation, think about the terrors that those people are going through. I think it'll make us all sort of think about it. And I never want to preach on the podcast. Do you know what I mean? I know there are a lot of people out there that do have the skill of empathy, but it's acting on empathy that is the most important thing.
It's hard. Being non-judgmental.
Yes.
It is so difficult because we're human beings, and we've all got unconscious bias. We can't help it. That forms how we think and our opinions, and you have to be really aware of that. We do that in our training. What are your unconscious biases? Mine is everybody who's got a dog is a nice person.
Let me see the dog. I love that. Let's talk about the party today then. So what are you guys expecting? How long have you guys planned this? What's it all about, this party today?
Well, we're 60 years old, and being the outgoing director, I finish next week because we're only allowed to do it for 3 years. I finish next week.
Oh, wow.
I thought, I wonder what we can do to celebrate what we've done for these last 3 years, because we've done tons. And then I looked through our old minutes books and found out that just after this weekend was the inaugural meeting of Samaritans of Shrewsbury. So I just said, wouldn't it be good to have a party? And voila, this is what you see. Everybody rallies round, anybody who likes doing parties. And that team, Angie and Nick and Claire and Anne and Judy, they're just the sandwiches guys in the kitchen.
I've just been in the kitchen, guys, and they're working hard in the kitchen.
Oh, yeah, don't go in the kitchen.
Go in the kitchen. But we were in there for a cup of coffee, and it was kind of like, it was so busy, so focused on the task. So.
Well, they're catering for 100 people.
And the room is, Nick is just amazing.
You must
go. The room looks
see.
amazing.
Yeah.
It's really, really lovely. Yeah.
And that's the wonderful thing. Somebody can have an idea and we're such a family that there are people with all sorts of strengths, and it takes off, you know.
It's great.
I couldn't bring a party together.
We're expecting about 100 people.
Wow, what quite a party.
Yeah. And it's important because these are the people that are coming that have got us to where we are today. It's not just us who are here now. We've got a lady coming who's 107. Yeah, absolutely amazing.
And was a Samaritan.
Oh, blimey! Probably
long
when
time ago.
when it started, you know. And without those people, because we moved around Shrewsbury, we started at St Upman's Church, and then we went to Castle Street, and then we came here, and people have given us money so that we can buy the property and all sorts of things. And it just means that us, Samaritans of today, are lucky enough that that's happened.
I love this building. This is one of the first things I said. This building we're by the arches, by the English Bridge, and it is like a TARDIS. You walk in and it opens up, and it's like a building lost in time. It's so fantastic. This hallway, for example, is wonderful. I love it.
We're very lucky that they lend us this building because we're just over the courtyard there. So people who've been in Shrewsbury a long time will know that it was a shop, and there was a little barber's shop next to it before the gyratory was built.
Yeah. Oh, right.
Yeah,
I
so
didn't know that.
Yeah, one of our Sam said, I used to come and have my hair cut here.
Wow.
There's a stunning view from in the branch upstairs over the river. It's great.
Oh, that helps. When you've had a tough call to go and look at that. That really helps, doesn't it?
My wife's gone for walks at Pontsbury this morning, and she was showing me pictures. It's nice to go out and get in nature. Yeah. Especially when you're feeling a bit pent up and, you know, you've had a busy week.
Yeah.
To be out in nature is really, really good. It's one of the best things I love about my job. Without going too much into it, is, you know, walking around, being around.
Yeah, meeting people. And people normally, if you give them a smile and a hello, small talk saves lives, Alex.
Absolutely. Do you guys get affected by the river an awful lot?
Oh, yeah.
We have barriers.
Yes.
We have plans.
Well, we've got flood protection plan, and we've been flooded there twice, 2004 and 2008, I think.
Wow. Stand by wellies in the corner.
Yeah, absolutely. So as Angie says, we've got flood barriers, we've got everything, haven't we, just in case. We've even got something that if the water comes up through the toilet, that you put on the toilet to stop it coming out. Who knew?
Not me. Extraordinary.
Landscape's always changing. What would you say to somebody who's listened to us that has never accessed the Samaritans, but probably could do with it? There's somebody sitting there right now thinking, I'm a bit nervous about ringing a stranger and talking about my problems.
I get it that it's a scary thing to do, but we are there for them. That's what we're there for, no matter what is bothering them, what worries they have, they can call.
Whatever.
Yeah, whatever. People quite often say, this is just silly, I'm really sorry to ring. And it's like, no, this is for you. You've called, it's your time, and we're here for you. So please call.
Yeah,
please.
Do it.
Can I share something?
Of course you can, please do.
Before I ever became a Samaritan, not that long before, but I was in a bit of a situation that I was unsure of, and I didn't know where to go. Basically,
go for it.
My ex-partner was trying to take his life, and the police phoned me because I was always the port of call. And I thought, the police have phoned me, I've got to go, because they've said so. And I always used to go when they rang. And I got to the end of the road of where this said person was, and I thought, I don't want to do this. It's not right. I don't want to do it. And I rang the Samaritans, and I was scared. I was nervous. I was thinking, this is stupid to be ringing them. Will they laugh at me? And I was on the phone for about 20 minutes, and by talking things through with them, it completely changed my life, as in I felt strong to say I don't want to do this anymore. And it was only by talking things through with them that I said things out loud that I've never admitted before. And it completely changed my life. And I made, from that 20-minute phone call, it's changed my life. as in I'm stronger, I'm allowed to say no, but without having that conversation with whoever that Samaritan was at the end of the phone, I realised that I can say no.
Yeah, very
Makes
empowering.
perfect sense. Perfect sense.
That's beautifully taught. Thank you so much for sharing that with us.
Well,
And
really good.
I remember when I was in school, I was an angry little child, and they were like, "Right, you're going to go see the school counsellor." And I remember going into this room. The counsellor sat there and stared at me. Goes, "Hello, Alex, please sit down." I was like, "Okay." So I sat down and he goes, "Begin."
Oh, right. Oh.
And I was like, "What do I do?"
Yeah,
You just wanted me to just talk. And I was like, "No." He's like, tell me what's on your mind."
Yeah.
No. I couldn't think of what to say. I was
No,
like, well...
of course not. You needed drawing out, didn't you? Yeah.
That was my first sort of welcoming into counselling. And because of that kind of awkwardness of it, I was kind of like, I ain't doing that again. That was a very strange situation to be in. But this is my counselling. This is what I do. This podcast, this speaking to people and finding out what your lives are like and talking about my things. I do a lot of whining on this podcast. So listeners will know. I know you listen to my show, you'll see that I do a lot of whining. And I've been through some serious stuff with my mental health recently, especially over the last year. I had to take a break from the biscuit because I was driving myself insane. I feel like sometimes you've got to listen to your inner instincts.
Absolutely.
And sometimes you've got to say no.
And sometimes it takes somebody to say to you, well, how are you feeling about all this? And then it all comes out and you think, I don't want to do this anymore. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. What does the future look like for Samaritans? You say you've got this building now. You own the building now?
Yeah, we do, yeah.
So you're here forever. Do you guys like to grow, stay the same? Are you happy about how things are? I mean, how does it look?
Always growing. Always growing.
Always changing things, making things better.
Yeah. Making things better. We're always inviting people to come and be volunteers if they think it's something they would like to do. So growing the numbers as well.
We have a voice in not Shrewsbury, but Samaritans have a voice in Parliament on suicide prevention. So that's always growing as well, working with the government, working with loads of different agencies. At the moment we work with Missing People, Network Rail. For us as a branch, we rather than doing face-to-face sessions in branch, we've changed it to go out to food banks, and we're on duty at food banks, and we're looking for places where there's a need for people to be listened to.
Oh, nice.
Offering our active listening workshops we do. Anybody who wants a Samaritans awareness talk, we will go out and do that. And it's all free because we passionately believe that we want to share this stuff because we want to reduce suicide.
Yeah, and the Samaritans worldwide thing, isn't it? It's not just the UK? Or
there's one in Spain and I think India. They've got but there's the befrienders that we're linked to,
Yeah, because we live in a completely different world to somewhere like, say, America, where healthcare is very expensive and mental health issues got to be paid for and stuff like this. I feel like we're very lucky in this country to the fact that we see a lot of this as something that we can lean on if we need it. It's there,
We get emails, don't we, from all over the world, because we do online chat and we do emails as well. And we get emails from all over the world, lots of countries where people, for example, are being gay is illegal, so they just email and talk about that with us. Loneliness, all sorts of things, don't they? But
It's really important that that's so good. It's so good that there are people. It's also a real shame that there are places in the world that kind of only see this as in this country as a viable option.
I know.
But you guys do incredible work, honestly. Like everybody that is part of the Samaritans. I'm friends with Phil Gillam, and he's been on the show a few times.
Yeah.
I know he was a great advocate for you guys while he was a mayor. It's just that we see the work that you guys do. So thank you for doing that. And if anybody wanted help from the Samaritans, how would they get it?
116
123.
Free, and it doesn't show up on your bill, so nobody will know that you phoned.
I wish we had a camera in here. That was brilliant the way you guys did that. I wasn't even unplugged.
And we don't know who they are. We don't have any information about callers apart from what they tell us. So they might tell us their name or they might not. We certainly don't have their phone number or their email address or anything.
Nothing.
So
We can't
it's-
trace people.
It's between us and them.
Do people abuse that though?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I bet you get some funny stuff come through as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's when you need your shift partner, because you could spend perhaps an hour and a quarter on the phone talking to somebody about their problems, and then you find out it's a sex call, and that is really annoying because we feel like we've blocked the phone line when somebody else could be there. Yeah, that does make us cross, doesn't it?
Yeah.
How awful that is. I can see that happening though with anything that exists in the world, whether it's social media, whether it's something like
It's the
people.
same sort of thing, isn't it?
How do you? Is it you have to lean on your instincts to weed out the genuine calls and the non-genuine calls?
You get a bit of an antennae, don't you,
You
for
do,
it?
and then you have to be sure
Yeah.
that it is definitely what we call it misuse of service. So,
Yeah.
and then if you're sure, you can say, I'm going to end the call now because this isn't appropriate.
This
or
isn't
it's not a service that
Samaritans.
Samaritans offer.
Okay. And you say that the calls are completely anonymous. They're on the spot. You can't trace anything. But can you refer if you need to?
Safeguarding, yes,
Yeah.
we can. So it's we have to have certain information for our national headquarters to do anything about it. So we need to know, the caller has to give us their name and their address and their phone number. And if they don't, there's nothing much that we can do. All we can do is let our safeguarding team nationally know that we've had this call and we're very concerned about it, and then it gets monitored in case somebody will phone again. But and threat to life, bomb warnings, they're not confidential. We will pass those on.
So you can't ring up the Samaritans and threaten people.
No, that gets passed on to the police straight away, and it will be taken forward. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes an awful lot of sense. It
Doesn't
does,
it?
Yeah. It does, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you guys have been fantastic. We've been doing this for like
Thank you.
half an hour now, I think.
Have we?
Yeah.
Gosh, we're going to go and get changed.
You guys got a party to get ready for.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing this. We're going to take the mic around the party. So the next bit you're going to listen to, guys, is me around the party. Is there anything you want to add before? Is there anything I've missed? I want to give you an opportunity, just if there's anything you want to say that we haven't covered yet.
Just thank you to everybody who's made the Shrewsbury Samaritans what it is today over the last 60 years.
Yeah.
Absolutely everybody. So it means it's kept going. And looking back through the minutes, we find it's the same issues that they've had time and time again, but they've got through it to get us where we are now.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Working together.
Yeah, absolutely.
This has been
Thanks,
brilliant.
Alex.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Brilliant. Okay, so what we're going to do now is, as the party is sort of getting together, people are going to have a bit of time to sit around and chat and talk to each other. And this is going to be a great opportunity for me to get interviews with people that have been in and around Samaritans and helped them for whatever reason they do. And so we've found our first victim or guest. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name's Paul Moore and I'm the husband of Lauren, who's been director for the last 3 years, hence my involvement with Samaritans.
How important is the Samaritans to you guys? I mean,
Yeah, well, my wife has been involved ever since I've known her, particularly the last 3 years. And, you know, she asked me to come along, help out in a way that I can, which is practical aspects. So I look after parts of the building along with other members of the building team. And I tend to do the practical work, which is my sort of forte and what I enjoy doing. But, you know, the listening part of Samaritans is the essential sort of part of what they do, but they need a base to work from, which, you know, has to be maintained.
you're going to have the hardware to go with the software, right? You're going to be able to operate from somewhere, like you said.
Yeah, I mean, I would be hopeless sat on the end of a telephone trying to talk to somebody, but if I can wield a saw and a hammer and make the place workable in, then, you know, that's what I'm happy to do.
We were talking about the dreaded river opposite. Does that give you much grief?
Yeah, we've been called out once or twice at midnight to put flood defences up. All good fun. More often than not, they're not needed, but you can't take that chance, so you have to come out and do it.
Yeah. And how often do you have to fix the place up over there? Does it run nicely? Do you have any issues?
they had an awful lot of work done professionally over the last 2 or 3 years. I tend to just do the sort of odd jobs as and when they come up. It's just like any building, your own house, there's always something to do. So I'm just around on call and try and do them. They usually have to wait a while before I get round to do them, but I do my best to get them done as quick as I can.
Well, brilliant. Thank you so much for offering your time and support for such a great cause. And what I'm going to do today is, during this next sort of half an hour, has anybody got any messages for anybody that's been involved with the Samaritans over the next 60 years in Shrewsbury? Have you got a message for those people?
Well, I think they do a tremendous job. It's a vital job, We all go through tough times in life. I guess every one of us can sort of think back to a time when we've needed somebody to talk to, whether it's been Samaritans or just a best mate or a colleague or whatever. But, there are people going through dire times, and just having somebody who's going to listen, not judge you, and help you out is vital. So, yeah, they've done 60 years. I'm sure they will be equally valuable over the next 60 years, although I don't think I or my wife will be here in that time.
It's wonderful, though, to see that it is such a valuable thing and you guys are here. I mean, we were just talking, just after we finished recording downstairs, we were talking about what these guys do, about like people that just want to have someone say goodnight to them before they go to bed. Something as simple as that.
Yeah.
Important, right?
Yeah, I mean, we sort of get taken in with our own circumstances, and you can have a family around you, friends around you, and you think everybody's like that, but out there in the world there are people who are living on their own, as you say. They're lonely, they haven't got a friend, they haven't got family to turn to, and just being able to pick up a phone and talk to somebody is vital.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for chatting with me today, and thank you for your time with the Samaritans.
Thank you.
Cheers. So, would you like to introduce yourself and your capacity with the Samaritans?
Yeah, I'm Jane Coward, and I've been a Samaritan for about 4 years now. And I've been involved in the town in lots of various capacities throughout my life. I'm a Shrewsbury girl. And as I reached, for certainly way past retirement age, I thought to myself, what can I do that isn't physically demanding and I joined, and they are a wonderful team, very welcoming, and I find it very fulfilling. It's a very topical thing. Obviously we don't just deal or have callers with suicidal, often people think of Samaritans as just suicide people, but it isn't,
Yeah, we were talking about downstairs when we were doing the interview, talking about people that just want to say goodnight to someone at night. That's quite sweet.
Oh, yeah, we do get, yes, we obviously do get people who just want to say goodnight, or just hello, It's surprising,
It's mad. We talk about small talk. I've never been good at small talk, when you stand there at the bus stop talking about the weather or how the football team's going on. But if you can find someone to do that that's comfortable doing it with you, and just have that interaction, I think that's really more important than we realise, I think.
Yeah, and it isn't small talk to them. Sometimes, often I'll come off a call and think, how much use have I been, And then we always debrief with our leader afterwards, and we were there for them, and I like to think we were there for them. A lot of people just need someone to talk to, and what is sort of everyday stuff to the listener may not be to them. We all when people have problems and anxieties, it's big to them. And it's able to recognise that it's big to them, and so that we can listen empathetically to them.
To me, conversation's like a natural rhythm of society. Through the generations and generations, whatever is happening around us, conversation has always been key, right? So the thought of someone having to wake up by themselves and not be able to speak to someone for a whole day, not even speak maybe, that's quite heartbreaking to think about.
It is, and the heartbreaking thing is that some people just don't have anybody from family or friends, they live very isolated lives. But that is heartbreaking. And of course, there's nothing we can do, from a practical point of view, but we are there to listen. And many of our callers, I know, ring us quite often and depend on us. And then that's what we're there for.
And it's been going for 60 years now. It's tried and tested, not going anywhere anytime soon. You guys have been doing a great job for all of that time. Is there anything that you've seen in the 4 years you've been here that's changed in the landscape of doing what you guys do? Is there any catalyst that's changed the way you do things?
No, to be honest. I'd like to sort of give you some dramatic answer to that as yes, but no, I find the callers' concerns are the same. And it's across the board of all sorts of problems.
But that's a good thing, though, in a way that, because you guys, over the experiences that you've had whilst being Samaritan, you've had those conversations time and time again.
But I mean, my experience is relatively limited. I mean, there are lots of people you will have interviewed, probably people who have been here 30 years. I'm a new girl, but... in addition to the listening, me being a listening Samaritan, I'm also in the prison team, which means that there are 6 of us, we go to Oakwood Prison, and there is most prisons have they call it listeners. They're not Samaritans, but they are listeners, but the Samaritans go to train them, and we go once a fortnight, 2 of us, to debrief with the prisoners who provide a service to their fellow prisoners on the same principle of Samaritans' work. But obviously it's not the same. As I say, it's not the same, but it's different, if you know what I mean. And I find that, again, a very rewarding thing. So we go, I go once every month, once every 6 weeks, as part of the team of 6 that go there.
That seems like an incredibly empowering thing to be a part of, because being able to talk about maybe something you've done or how something's affected you gives you the opportunity to forgive yourself, to be able to move forward, and
Yes, and I actually think that the listeners, the prisoners, have a harder job than we do, because in our work, the call, obviously it's confidential, and we don't know them, and so therefore people can speak very freely to us because they've no idea who we are or where we are, and vice versa. Whereas with the prison situation, they are going into a prisoner will call for a listener. They go into their cell and listen to them, but there is difficulty for them because they're living with them. So the confidentiality thing is quite hard for the listener to cope with, and it means the listener has got to gain the trust of the prisoner in order to confide in them if they want to talk about things that upset them, and then we, as I say, we debrief after a couple of weeks, and the prisoners tell us what their concerns have been and that sort of thing, and we talk about the cases, the calls that we've, and how could we have done it better, and so we share information to constantly try to improve the service.
That's really wonderful. You do an amazing service. Thank you so much for what you do.
Sorry. I find it fulfilling, but they are a wonderful, as you can see, they're a wonderful bunch, made lots of friends. I believe anybody who does any work in any situation, charity especially, you've got to be selfish enough to get something out of it yourself. I think anybody who says, I purely do it for platonic reasons, actually, I don't believe that. I believe you have to get something back.
Be able to help.
And what we get back is the comradeship and the fun that we occasionally have, and been working hard for this
purpose as well.
Yes. Absolutely. Yes. Yeah.
Brilliant. What I'm going to do at this bit is I'm going to ask you: have you got any messages to anybody that's been involved with the Samaritans over the last 60 years? Any messages for them?
far be it from me, because as a repeat, I'm a newcomer, and I know people far more dedicated and long-serving will be thanking them, and I know Lauren, our director, will be thanking them profusely. But it's given me an insight into the dedication that people have shown in the past, as to how much people have given in the past, and without sounding dramatic or cheesy, saved people's lives, on occasions, and I'm sure they have. So, and I know a lot are coming today, so they still have those links, Samaritans has a special place in their heart.
Wonderful, that was brilliant. Thank you so much.
I'm Jill. I'm a listening volunteer, and I also volunteer with the outreach group.
Outreach, we didn't talk, we've just done a discussion downstairs for about half an hour. I don't think we covered the outreach that often, so that much. So what do you guys do on outreach then?
We go along to food banks, the railway station, and we do face-to-face listening.
Oh wow, wonderful. And you say you've been here for 2 years doing this, and what have you learned over the last 2 years with the Samaritans?
I've learned a lot about myself. I've learned a little bit about the people who we listen to, who phone us up, who we speak to face to face. And it's been a really enlightening process.
Oh, nice. And I've heard that quite a bit, that learning from other people and from their experiences and like helps your empathy grow a little bit, so that you can learn to sort of help people in their certain situations. Can it be difficult at times to listen to people?
Difficult as in sometimes you wonder how people can cope with their lot, because it's not just one thing, and if something's happened to them early on in their lives, you can usually see a process of different things that have happened to them and that they've had to deal with over their lifetime. So that can be difficult, thinking that they've had nobody.
It's not an easy job to do, to listen to especially if someone's quite distraught, and we were talking about the certain things that you guys speak about and the situations you may come under. So what you guys do is fantastic. So in whatever capacity you help someone, thank you so much for doing what you do.
Okay, thank you.
What I'm going to do is I'm trying to collect sort of any nice messages that you can say to anybody that's been involved with the Samaritans over the last 60 years. Are there any messages you'd like to say to these people?
Well, to everybody I've come across, when I joined 2 years ago, it was like joining a family. And this family just grabs hold of you, and they're supportive and they're friendly and they're lovely.
Brilliant, thank you very much. Would you like to introduce yourself?
I'm Anna.
Hi Anna, how long have you been involved with the Samaritans?
Be about 10.5 years.
10.5 years, that's a long time.
It is, yeah, but great place to belong to, really lovely.
What drew you towards the Samaritans at the beginning there?
Oh golly, some personal experience of things that had happened to people I knew, and just always been interested in listening to people, listening to their stories and helping support them.
And over the last 10 years, how much has the landscape sort of changed with the help that people need and what you guys offer?
I think there's a lot of common themes. There's obviously the economic landscape has changed and the social landscape has changed a lot, and then we've had COVID thrown into the middle of that, so all of that has changed, but there are still common themes of people struggling with loneliness and all of that sort of thing.
That's one thing I've heard a lot, is that the things that people talk about don't really change. It's all about kind of like the same things over and over again, which is society, right? That's how we cope as a society, whether it's money, whether it's emotional problems. And over the last 10 years, have you become more adept at sort of helping people for them type of situations?
I don't know if I've become more adept. I would say that people find their own way through their situations. If you give them space and just listen to them, that's what they need.
Wonderful. And what message would you give to anybody that's been involved with the Samaritans over the last 60 years?
Oh, wow, just thank you. It is such a fabulous organisation to belong to, so welcoming. It really is a family. And whether it's in the branch or wider in the region or the whole national setup, everybody is there to support everybody else. It's just brilliant.
Brilliant. Thank you for chatting to me. So I'm going to just record a little bit here while I'm, surrounded by these amazing volunteers at the Samaritans. People are starting to come in now, and my job here is to get a few stories about, why people do what they do with the Samaritans and the help that they offer. The stories I'm getting are wonderful, but I think one of the things I'd like to reflect on is the fact that the problems and the situations that people come to the Samaritans with are age-old problems that repeat over and over again through decade, generation to generation. And I think that's something we can all learn, is that the problems that you're facing right now, whether it be you're struggling with your bills or, these are problems that we can all help each other with. So that's important.
Well, I first joined as a Samaritan in 1987.
Wonderful.
So it's quite a long time ago. We weren't in this premises. We were in Castle Court, which is behind the library, or near the library. Very different facilities than the branch we've got here, of course. So I saw the move to the branch. I also saw the floods.
The floods, we've talked about that today, yeah.
Completely flooded out. It was, interesting.
It's a story of Salopians for generations, right, those floods?
Yes, absolutely, and everybody. Well, actually, it was interesting. I suppose this is okay to say, but when the discussion was being made about moving premises, and the premises across the road, just outside here, when the availability of that came up, one of the things that people were worried about was football hooliganism.
Oh, really? Because of the Gay Meadow?
Gay Meadow was where the football ground was. Well, of course, there wasn't a hint of that in all the time that they were there and we were here. But nobody predicted the floods, even though floods had happened in the past, but not like that.
Perseverance, very important. You guys are still here, still helping people. I'm trying to understand how the landscape may have changed in all the time that you've been with Samaritans. As we talk about mental health and the problems that people are faced with. Do you think there's been much change in how you help people and the help that they need from you?
I think that's two questions, really. How we help people stays basically the same. We listen, we give them time, we give them care as we can over the phone by distance, and we try to be available at the times when maybe nobody else is available for them to talk to. What was the other half of the question?
The help that people need help with the problems that are faced with people.
Well, I think my answer to that, the basic answer is people are people. So you do see maybe some patterns, like bad times when everybody else is happy and you're expected to be joyous and happy, and maybe that's not the way you feel at the moment. So I don't think that changes. But otherwise, yes, there are some changes. It's quite hard to define, really.
I think it comes with different innovations, inventions, and how we do things. Social media, for example, Facebook, these kind of pressures that are put on people. Kids today, people have got cameras walking around and they can record people in certain situations that are difficult. Yeah. We didn't have that a few years ago. It's nice that we as society, we sort of adapt in the way we sort of help people, What I wanted to do is I'm trying to collect any messages for people that have been involved with the Samaritans for the last 60 years. Have you got a message that you'd like to say to anybody that's been involved?
To the Samaritan or people outside?
To the Samaritans or for the people?
Or to Samaritans, they're just a wonderful bunch of people to be with, and the best thing about being a Samaritan volunteer is that you're in amongst other Samaritan volunteers. What could be better? What could be better support? Outside, I would say, to stress our availability, and of course the different ways that we can be contacted, not only the phone, but by email and by, I've forgotten the title of it, but using the keyboard.
Yes, on the internet, social media.
No, not social media as such. I've forgotten what it's called. Somebody else will tell you when you go around it. So people are having a real-time message, but typing it.
Oh, so like for like WhatsApp and things like that. So like texting.
It's not WhatsApp, but there is a name for it, and I can't remember it.
Oh, cool. Well, I want to thank you for all your years of service with the Samaritans and what you do. You're very easy to talk to.
I'm sorry?
You're very easy to talk to. It's been very easy to talk to you.
Well, it's easier to talk than listen, really. No, it's the other way around. It's easier to listen than talk, but you may... Yeah.
I think a good listener is invaluable amongst people. Someone that can sit and listen. Somebody that can sit and listen is invaluable, I think. Very, very important.
Yes. It's listening... Yeah, listening in all its shape, not just hearing.
Yes.
Listening.
Brilliant. And what was your name again, sorry?
Sally.
Sally, thank you so much for chatting to me today. Thank you so much for chatting.
Thank you very much indeed. I'm sorry if I didn't hear all the time.
It's a busy room, lots of people, which is good, isn't it? These are all these...
It's fantastic to have people coming back and re-greeting and, from over the years. It's lovely. Yeah.
It really is nice.
Great privilege.
Thank you for chatting to me today, Sally. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I'm Tony. I've been working with Samaritans for 10 years as a volunteer, and I deal with all the IT and phones, but also listening to callers on the phone and a big time on online chat as well.
So a mixed bag of what you do then. That's quite cool. Very versatile.
Yeah, I try my best.
Over the last 10 years, you talk with the technology and the phones and stuff, things have changed dramatically, right?
Yeah, yes. I mean, the latest thing we're doing is this online chat where people can contact us. It's a bit like WhatsApp, but, we're finding a lot more people who've never used this before are coming on the online chat. And a lot of people with severe personal difficulties are coming on online chat. I would say the percentages are more people are contacting us who are in worse position on online chat than they do on the phones.
Yeah, I was talking to Sally actually about that, and she couldn't remember the name of the chat, so I'm glad you brought it up. So it's very similar to WhatsApp. I mean, that's how everything's moving now, isn't it? Is that everything's got to be more and more accessible, and it's good to see that you guys are keeping up with that.
Yeah, I mean, young people don't use the phone, but we don't just get young people on the online chat. We get older people as well, and a complete range of people. It's a very good service. It really does help a lot of people.
Wonderful, and we're talking about how does that effectively help people in a different way to the phones? Is there a specific area that can cover better?
I think the thing is that what I've noticed is that on the phone, when you start a conversation on the phone, there's always a little bit of handshaking. It's a bit like "how are you" kind of thing.
Awkward icebreaker, yeah.
Yeah. It's like that's what we do on the phone. But on chat, it's like the first message is dire. I'm going to kill myself now. It's like bang. So it's much more urgent, which is good really, because it means you can you cut out some of the chat. Some of the sort of handshaking stuff, so you can get almost quickly. And also the other advantage is that people can use it, on their mobiles when they're standing by a bridge or whatever. So it's much more accessible, really.
When you see that ... while they're typing things, you know that they're doing something.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, I think we're about to kick off.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much for chatting to me.
No
Quickly before we go, have you got any messages for people that have been involved with the Samaritans over the last 60 years?
Yeah, what a great organisation, and I'm the son of a Samaritan, so it's a family business.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for chatting to me. Brilliant. And that is where my adventure ended yesterday. I had to go and do some parenting, so I had to leave just before they got started. But I want to say thank you to Claire for inviting me along and being a listener of the show as well. That's really nice. It was just such a nice day. So hearing those stories is what makes this podcast worth it. I just kind of enjoy these kind of things, going out and collecting this. Claire was like, I'd stay for some lunch. She was trying to get me to say thank you, some food and stuff. And I was like, no, this is the prize for me, is these conversations with these amazing people. So I want to say thank you to everybody that spoke to me. Genuinely heard words of wisdom in this podcast. And I wanted to just to say that Claire got in touch with me afterwards just to say that we forgot to talk about, if you wanted to volunteer, you the listener, if you're thinking, oh, I'd like to do that, I'd like to help out, then Claire encourages you to go to samaritans.org/Shrewsbury. Get in touch with them if this is something, if you want to become a listener and get involved, please contact them. If you're sitting around and you don't have much going on and you're bored and you want to help out some way, this is a great way to use your time. So please get in touch with them. And also all the contacts information for the Samaritans, if you want their help, will be on the readout for this podcast. As you're listening to this, take a look at the little blurb at the bottom, press read more, and there are links there for the Samaritans, but also the number that was mentioned during this podcast is 116123. I didn't do it as good as Lauren and Angie did at the beginning, part of this podcast, but again, that's 116123. Get in touch with the Samaritans if you need their help. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast. It's a really important one, I think. I appreciate there are maybe some difficult subjects in there for you, but it calls part and package of what the Samaritans do. If this is your first time listening to the Shrewsbury Biscuit podcast, we've got a huge back catalogue of amazing audio with amazing people, with amazing stories from all around Shropshire. You can also follow us on social media. Our Facebook is there and our Instagram. I'm starting to use TikTok as well to make reels, little highlights of shows that we've done. So please give us a follow. Really, really does help if you do that. And I hope you enjoy. I've spoken to like 3 or 4 people in the last week alone that are going back and listening to all the Biscuit podcasts episodes. Honestly, that means the world to me to hear that people are doing that. But genuinely, people are going for it. So if you want to start that journey, thank you so much. I really do appreciate that. But I'm going to go. We've got 2 more episodes left of Season Alpha. And then I'm going to hang up my mic for a little bit, have a break. Then I'm going to start looking at guests for Season Bravo, which is it's crazy to think about. It seems like only 5 minutes ago we started this one. Amazing. But so stick around, follow us on social media, and thank you for your time. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.